for the sake of being on time, we are live. So, good night, good people. I'm super excited. I'm elated for a multitude of reasons. Um, One reason why I'm excited is because we have a special guest tonight. The second reason why I'm excited is I actually interviewed his brother. So this is my first time I've interviewed one brother, and now I'm interviewing the older brother. But tonight we have Mr. Napoleon Crowell. Mr. Napoleon Crowell is first and foremost a man of Christ,
Yeah.
a husband, a father, a serial entrepreneur, and I say I add the tag of philanthropist. So, Mr. Napoleon Crowell, thank you for joining DNC tonight. Thank you for your time, and please give if I didn't add something to it, please introduce yourself and add a little sauce to it as well.
Well, I'm an educator. I'm a proud father of 13, soon to be 14 grandchildren. Um, I'm just a man on a mission.
Nice. I like that. I like that was elegant, and that describes you. I think you have a calm demeanor. We could tell that you're a man of strong faith, and I'm interested to know a little bit about who you are and how you became this man we see here today.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna dive into the who in a minute. I'm honored that I know a little bit and I know a lot about your family, but I'm gonna let the people know how great of a father you had, how great of a father you are, and we're going to talk about a plethora of things tonight. But before we get into that, I got the green light. We're going to talk about 18 Holes of Wisdom, and we got something special for you guys tonight. We're going to drop that video. We have an event coming up June 30th. I'm going to let him first and foremost get into it later on, but we're going to show y'all this special video exclusive tonight, you guys. So let me share this video with you guys, and we'll be right back. It's a 2-minute video, so y'all bear with us now. 2 and 29 minutes, I believe. 2 minutes 29 seconds, and then we'll get back into Mr. Napoleon. He might even talk a little bit about the video. Then we'll get into the who of this man that we have here in front of us. So let's present this video. Share screen. Go to window. Okay. Let's share that. Are you guys seeing my screen? Okay. Before I play, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure the people can see it. All right. Action.
Nobody. I don't think that can be it. front screen, they can't hear.
All right, all right, all right. Wonderful, wonderful. Let me get back to it. All right. You
I
said
don't
you
think they
you
can hear
could
it.
you could could you hear it?
They could. We couldn't hear the video.
You couldn't hear it at all?
No, I got a few texts that say they couldn't hear it.
Oh, you know what, Lord, you know what? Everybody said the same thing too. Why? The volume's up. Okay, hold on, let me double check. Lord. Okay. Why is because everybody I see it now. We can't hear. Can't hear. Can't hear. Okay. But I wonder why though. Let me double check something. Because they hear us perfectly here. Testing good video though. It's low. Okay, it was low. It's up to you guys. Crow, you want me to restart it again?
Yes, let them hear it.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's start it up. Let's turn the volume up though. Uh yeah, let's get because it was too good not to. Let me make sure my volume's up here. All right, let's try this one more time. But they love the video though. Everybody's I'm getting the comments. I'll put the link in the chat. Yes, I will. Okay. And then you guys stop me if you guys can't hear it again. But let's try it again. Share screen. Okay. Share screen. Go to window. Share. Okay. Second time's a charm. Let's make sure the volume is up. Oh, okay, yeah. Here we go. I'm gonna turn it all the way up. My apologies, people. Let me know if you can hear it. Can we hear?
No.
Still can't hear? It's it's turned all the way up on my end. I don't know. I hate that though. Um, let me see if anybody in the chat. Greetings. I apologize, good people. We're gonna try that again later on. No, still can't hear. We apologize. We're gonna try. Let's move forward and I'll try to troubleshoot it. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of you today. But let me give a couple shout outs and I apologize, everybody. I wonder why. It really upsets me, but I'm not gonna let it, you know, get to me too much. But let me stop sharing, and I'm gonna give a couple shout outs, and I apologize because you have quite the audience in here, and I want to make sure they get recognized. Let's put them on the screen. Shout out to Mr. Tommy Hicks. Good evening, gents. Thank you. Shout out to my wonderful business partner, Shondell Clark, the other half of DNC Credit Services LLC. Shout out to Mrs. Akila Shaw. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name.
That's right.
Charge it to my head, not my heart. Shout out to Mrs. I don't want to mispronounce her name.
Gail.
Gail. Gail. Thank you for joining, Mrs. Gail. We appreciate your time tonight, ladies. I will put the link in here. But let's shout out to Miss Stephanie. Thank you for joining as well. Thank you for who all has joined. And I apologize for not being able to show the video. It upsets me. But nevertheless, back to you, Mr. Crowell. Let's start from the beginning, man. Let's start before we get into the questions. Where were you born? And tell us a little bit about your upbringing, sir.
Born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The oldest of six. My father grew up in the projects of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in Cleveland projects. My father had he said he wanted to make sure all of his children had to do something, had a chance to do something that he and my mother had a chance to do, and that was to go to college. And he said, well, I couldn't afford to send you there, but we're gonna make sure that you guys are great athletes and great students and great individuals, and that we accomplish. And and so from those humble beginnings, my father taught taught us a work ethic and a foundation built on family and love and just being believers in Christ. And he displayed that standard, and then he displayed the standard of family. He never missed any games. He didn't miss dinner. He was always upright. What he preached is what he lived. And so I'm forever grateful for him and what he did for me and my siblings. And and so he made sure that all of us were great athletes. And so the sport that everybody plays was either baseball, football, or basketball. One of the three. That's what it was gonna be. And you was gonna be you ain't had no choice. You was gonna be good or great in all of those so that we could go to college. And that's what we did. That's what we did. We made sure we was in church, we was either on the sports field, or we was either at home at the table, um, learning about being being a Christian.
Mm. You said a whole lot, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I hope you guys are. I'm gonna push this video, of course, as best as I can. And I always pray to God. I want to reach people more than I'm even thinking about. But I like you said so many good things, and I'm taking notes. And I hope the younger generation understands what this man said. His father never missed a dinner, and I think it's so important because you grew up in the values of we all gonna not have our phones out. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna eat dinner together as a family. So also, you say you had you're the oldest, right,
Yeah.
of your siblings. So how was it being the oldest? Because that's a burden to bear itself. How was it being the
Sacrifice.
mm,
There was always sacrifice. I remember one Christmas, my brother Jermaine, things were right. He came, to, he came up with this morning, and he came up with his list, and he was see one of the things on his list, and so he had to look at his face like he was like it just was not going to be a good Christmas. Although he had everything else, it was one thing he didn't have. And so my mama said, just get him yours, and I'll get you one later.
woo?
And I did. Uh, I always was just if somebody didn't do something, it's my fault. If somebody needed to do something, it was my responsibility to make sure it was done. When mom and dad was out working 2 jobs, I was at home cooking and cleaning and making sure that everyone was together at the house. If it wasn't together, it was my fault. And if it was always just them.
And you know what? And I like I said, I'm just getting to know you. I know of the lineage of your family, and I've heard nothing but good things about your family. And to meet I never got a chance to meet your father. And for me, correct me if I'm wrong. Usually, being the oldest, go back to what you said. Being the oldest, usually you're a reflection of the leader, of the head of the house. Like your dad and mom, and you're like right there in command in the pecking order of things. Because when dad and mom are gone, you are in charge, and you bear the responsibility of what dad and mom want us to do. So that's a true responsibility within itself. And all I can say is from all I've known from you and your family, you in particular, you're a very noble man. You're a very honorable man. And I'm not pulling this man's chain. I'm just speaking facts because I've just met this man. So I've just known of this man's character. And what I've known of his character is he's a very noble and honorable man. I'm not saying the man's perfect. Nobody's perfect, y'all. But what I'm saying is you got to give people their flowers and roses while they're alive and here. I even put him in my book, shameless plug. But I would say that that's very amazing. And I said this, I know your brother personally, so I'm still getting a chance to know you. And I remember your brother vividly telling me, like, your dad kept 3 jobs at one point in time, 2 to 3 jobs. So talk about, your father was a bishop, right? So he was a man of
Yes.
the cloth. So talk about you seeing the struggle of this man keeping the house together, because your father came from humble upbringings. It's not like he had, no, your father came from humble upbringing. So talk about you seeing your dad, what a real man looks like. Can you talk about that for us?
Selflessness.
Mm,
Selflessness. And I never saw the stress, like he never acted out the stress that I now know that he had to be under in all, because I saw him give out to families outside of our house, cousins, family, anybody in our house. It was everybody's house. I remember the kids in the neighborhood who would come to our house, and and they would be eating dinner at our house.
mm,
And I'm like, wait a minute, we ain't like we got a lot. It is a lot of us. But everybody came to the house. He was always trying to do something to help somebody else. And I just saw this selflessness that I was like like wow. And now as I've gotten older, I realized it was it was how Christ was molded into him, and he became he became the hands and the feet of of being a bidder of good. I remember at his funeral, people came and told me things that he did, and stuff he did to help them, give them. Like, I'm like, how you giving stuff to people and we ain't hardly give a lot. But he found a way to give it. And the secret that he had was that if you have a little, that's because you give little. The more you give out, the more you have coming in. And so whether he was given to the church or whether he was given to somebody he knew at work, somebody he knew in the family, I mean, he could even make it to cousins and uncles and nieces, events and activities, and and I saw I saw that growing up. I remember my grandma, and they called us the house of the 12 disciples.
nice. That's just so amazing. That's so amazing, man. You just said so much. And I'm not gonna lie to you. That's why it's important for you to get your message out, because you have me thinking about, Jesus himself, in the sense of, like, Jesus had that one loaf of bread and he fed so many. Your dad didn't have a lot, your family didn't have a lot, but your dad made sacrifices and he still tried to make things work. Um, he still tried to make things work. So that's amazing, man. I'm just lost words. Let me see if we got any comments. If you guys have any questions right now, please put them in the chat. We try our best to get to them. We are here with Napoleon Crowell tonight. A special guest. This is going to be part one. We are going to have a part two. So let me check the chat right quick to see if we have any questions. But if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. We try to get to them. Gail said, "Wow." So we appreciate you guys interacting with us. So thank you, Gail. Thank you for sharing those personal stories with us as well. So, back to the meat and potatoes of things, because I can talk to you for hours and days, to be honest with you, about just picking your mind about fatherhood, because I feel like it's a lost art. Like the cloth that you guys are cut from, meaning the baby boomers, meaning the hardworking men. We don't see it enough in our community, and it irritates me. But I'm glad that you're here today, because it brings up that noble men and good hardworking men and people that serve the Lord are still out there. We're trying our best. So I appreciate you, and telling your stories about your dad and you being the head. Okay. So we're here today. Crowell has two companies. He has probably a multitude of, but the ones I know about is Restore to Be, but we're here for 18 Holes of Wisdom. So with that being said, 18 Holes of Wisdom, let's talk about that. How did you find that company? What made you start that company? Um, Enlighten the people.
Okay, that's a good question. 18 Holes of Wisdom really was birthed to help find a way to change what my son and I were experiencing when he was playing competitive golf. When we found out how to start playing competitive golf, we would go to tournaments. There might be 112 people there. We were the only two people that looked like us. We were, and I was like, wow. I remember when he was in sixth grade, he was playing football like his dad, and he told me that he said, "I want to play golf. I think I want to focus on golf." I said, well, "Okay, son, you sure?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Don't think it's gonna be any easier. In fact, it's gonna be hard because everything that you learn in golf, you learn alone." And so our journey began. Um, I knew that he was in the seventh grade, and they had middle school. I thought they had middle school golf, so I went to the school that was day in middle, and I said went to the athletic director. I said, um, "Tell me about you guys' golf program." He said, "Well, we don't really have a golf program." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "We don't have anybody interested in playing golf." I said, "My son." He said, "Well, we need 4 golfers to have a team, and then we got to find a coach." I found 3 golfers, and I was the coach. And so I started. I was like, "Okay, how do I teach it? I knew how to play it. How do I teach it?" So I got the guys together. They really weren't that good. Josiah, he was the best on the team. He had been through first team. He was ready to start competing. He competed in a few U.S. Kids golf matches, but really wasn't really doing anything remarkable. Maybe shooting in the mid 90s to 100, but he knew how to play the game. So we got those guys together, and I saw that we were pretty bad. We were not good, and so I commenced trying to teach the kids what I knew, and I said, well, being a PE teacher myself, I said, well, I got to teach these kids golf. So I went and got my U.S. Kids Golf certification, started learning how to teach kids golf, and I started teaching our kids golf at Joe. And so the parents started liking it, the kids started getting better, and they was going to play after the season. And so after the short 6 game season ended, there was nothing. And I said, so how do the kids get better? Well, they went to next season. I said, well, middle. I knew the amount of time that I was spending with my son working with him. So some of the other kids started saying, Mr. Crowell, we come with y'all. And so I found myself with the whole golf team in the off season practicing.
Mm.
And then they was wanting to know, well, what y'all doing this weekend? I said, well, Josiah has a match. They said, a match? Match where? And so I began to dig into it and find out about junior golf and competitive golf. What what was the landscape of competitive golf? And then I started talking to the parents, and the parents was looking at me like, "What you talking about, Willis?" So they didn't know. I was finding out, and as I began to find out more, I found out it was more I didn't know, and then I began to unlock the barriers of success for our kids and the kids that we were playing against. And so when we started going to these courses, that was like, wait a minute, we over here putting on grass that's 2 inches high, and these kids putting on that if you touch the ball, it run off the green. I was like, that ain't right. And so I began to dig deeper and find out that we really were not going to be on a competitive level if we were not doing some things differently, which meant really practicing like competitive golf practice.
Mm.
So we began to look at other courses, look at other uh, junior golf associations, and then I began to say, okay, I'm understanding this thing now, and so that's when I started. That's when I started. That's when I formed the company, Never Living an Athlete's Mind.
Mm. So you found a problem and you decided to fix that said problem, and the dream actually I guess started from your son too. So I, as a father, when did you really start seeing that your son had potential? Because I got my notes here. I see you had a couple first timers when you started to formulate the team. So I know you had a team. You have three other players. You actually got the accreditation as a coach, and you was like, let me figure this thing out, which is hard within itself because you had to like figure out how do I coach these kids, how do I get through these kids. But personally, as a father, when did you start to think, okay, or start to see that my son actually is good at this? He has potential.
Well, when he started getting into those matches, and I started to see when what he was doing and what the higher ranked players were doing, how they were acting in certain situations, what was I as the cat, how did I need to be cat in that? Because that was a whole nother learning experience. Because you got a kid who you tell what to do, and now he's telling you what he's not gonna do. So I had to learn how to drop my ego and be like, okay, all right, that's a good choice, man. Let's go with it. You can do it. And then when you didn't do it right, not say, well, I told you, but just keep it moving.
Mm,
Let him learn. So I was seeing how not saying something was really saying something, and how that was teaching him the stuff that I wanted him to learn about life anyway, how to
mm,
handle a tough situation, how to how to play when you ahead, how to play when you're behind. What do you do when you first start a match? What's your mindset? What are you doing before? What are you doing when you are on the course? What kind of choices are you making? Which are all things that a father talks about, which is all things that a mother talks about to their children as they're coaching. And I begin to realize that on the course, I'm really teaching him life.
mm.
And and as a father, sometimes you don't need to say something. You just need to be there. And he will tell you what you're thinking. And
Touche.
that's when I began to see him make that next step where he began to match his talent with his mindset.
Mm.
And then I said, he got he got it. And I started walking away. I started walking on the walkway, letting him make his own choices, go through the ups and downs without me holding his hand, and letting him begin to grow. And I said, got it.
You know what? That's a beautiful thing right there. And I want you to piggyback off this before we get, jumping more into it. Because his name is Josiah, correct?
Yes.
Josiah, because we got we're gonna talk about Everly correct too as well. We need to talk about Everly. But as far as I learned this recently because I'm a new dad myself, you guys. My son's 5 and Proa can contest to this. It's like I've learned this recently. Not recently, not that I didn't know it, but it hits me more. No one wants you to succeed more in this life than your father. Like as far as wants them to be more of a better man than themselves. Now, of course, you got uncles, you got coaches, you got other people, grandfathers. But as far as that one person that's most important that wants you to be more better than them is your father. Like I'm pouring so much into my son. You're pouring so much into your son and these other kids and all the everybody, but you want them to succeed. But that one person that wants you to be like 100% better than them is the dad. Like I want my son to be way better man than me. So how do you feel about that comment I just said as well? Do you feel like you agree, you disagree, or what? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. Sometimes when we're playing golf, he get to saying, Dad, I'm better than you. I'm like, good.
Oh, okay.
Dad, I can whoop you. I said, good. You better whoop me.
Yeah.
I want you to whoop me. Because the planter should always want the seed to manifest more than
Mm.
what he did. So that's what I realized with my son that I do want him to be better. And I do want him to learn early enough so that he can take a talent and immerse it into his life,
Mm.
into every area of his life. He can learn and apply what he's doing on the golf course. So, yeah.
You said something key because sports and I'm learning more about the game myself. But you said something key earlier. Him learning which club to use and which like learning on his own. So you stepping back and actually witnessing that's actually a beautiful thing itself. Because as a dad, we're kind of like no. We don't want them to get lumped up, but then sometimes you have to be like, let me see what he's going to do in this particular situation. And
Mhm.
then sometimes you have to witness, okay, he didn't make the right decision, but then he learned from that mistake, and now he's making the right decisions. So you actually got him, you having him use the drive or using the putt, like seeing, witnessing him using what material to use. That's
Mhm.
good within itself. So you got. Let's talk about before we fast forward because we have a lot of good stuff to get to. We may not be able to get to everything because there's so much good information that you guys are getting tonight. But you got your dad, Josiah, and Everly. So talk about that transition, and then we'll talk about to the business side.
Evelyn is one of my grandbabies. The
Okay.
moment I showed her how to play golf, oh my goodness, this girl, she would not let me leave her house. I got her a putter and I gave her a ball. And I just gave her a little cup. And I said, Evelyn, I want you to put this ball into this cup 10 times every night.
Wow.
Evelyn was 5 years old. And she Papa, I got it. Papa, I got it. She will not, she took her foot of the bed with her and she wants to play this game. And I'm gonna make sure you play. She gonna get signed up the first this year.
That is amazing. That
Yeah.
is, you got me. And that's a beautiful name, by the way. So shout out to Everly. I know she's young. She can't see this yet, but I
She
like
said,
that.
well, she, her mama asked her, she might be,
That's a beautiful name, man. That's a very beautiful name. My daughter's name is Emery, so you have me thinking about her. That's a beautiful name. So, what is the vision of 18 and how?
So 18 how? So what has to happen? So let me back up a little bit. About 4 years ago, I was at the Boys and Girls Club, and Sam Perrier, who's the head golf coach at Howard University, He's also from my hometown, Winston-Salem. And so we crossed each other, we crossed paths when he was in Charlotte. He was at Queens University then. He was a golf coach. And so I was at the Boys and Girls Club. And I told Sam I wanted to get the kids at the Boys and Girls Club. I wanted to introduce them to golf. And so I told him I'd like him to come out and be the guest speaker. And he came and he was a guest speaker. And so me and him we started talking. And so he was like, Crow, man, this is golf, man. I love it. He was like, man, he was like, this thing right here is really bigger than I thought it ever would be. And when he started telling me some of the people that he had taught and gave golf lessons to and what he was starting to do, he was like, man, he was like, yeah, man, I'm starting this foundation so that I can expand golf because I want more kids from my hometown, from from Charlotte. I want more of our kids to know about this sport early enough so that they can get involved. And so we started talking, and so for long he was gone, he was the head coach at Howard, and so I was in Charlotte, and I was like thinking about what he was saying. My son was in the seventh grade, and I was like, what we gonna do to build it? And so that's when I started saying, you know what, we gotta take this thing to our community. We gotta get this to our community, but and quite honestly, I thought I was going to do it the first team. Um, first team, great organization. All of my kids, all five of them, I introduced them to golf through first team. But I didn't know much about golf. So after they got introduced to it, I really couldn't take them where I had taken Josiah because I didn't really know much about it. And so that's when I started I started looking into what is it that needs to be done to make sure that more of our kids get exposed to it. Because I knew that Josiah had grown to the point where he was going to go. He's in fifth grade, going right to 11th grader. He's 7, 8 handicap. He's going to be better than that. He's going to be good. So, but what happens next? So I ran into a good friend of mine. Her name is Jewel. She and I started talking, and
Mm,
she and I had similar visions about golf and the need for us to have more of our kids with opportunities in bigger places, going to the MAC championship, playing on the big circuit, playing in college, getting an opportunity to play. And so she started talking about that level. And so she went on and founded the ambassador. She founded the Golf Ambassadors, which are junior golfers who compete on the national circuit and the local circuit. Those kids, some have already gone to college.
mm,
Now you got other kids that are going to college, got national exposure. They're playing on the Why Not Us tour. They're playing um, they're playing in the MAC championship. So it, she's taking care of the top end of our kids. And so I said, well, I'm gonna take care of the bottom because you gotta you gotta feed the system in order to feed more kids an opportunity. And I just knew that was not happening in the middle school and the elementary level
mm,
because most of our kids, all they were talking about was basketball, football, track, maybe soccer. That's what they were talking about. So that's when I dug my hands in and said, how do I now get thing into high school, I mean, in the middle school? But what I realized was that there was no funding.
Mm.
There was no funding. That our middle schools did not have golf programs. As a matter of fact, I went back to go coach at JMA when my son was playing at Crowell Creek. No funding.
Wow.
When I started doing my research at all of the high schools that that predominantly we attend, no high school golf. If it were high school golfers, they were so bad I didn't even want to look at it.
Um.
So they how did they get bad? Because they weren't exposed early. And then when I came to Winston-Salem, started looking into the high schools there at my alma mater, North Society, no golf team. Carver School. The only golfer that they had in the last 7 years was my nephew, Jermaine Jr., when he played football when we was coaching in Carver.
Wow.
Maybe 8 years ago, he
Wow.
was the only golfer. And he was real good. That's why he got his pro card right now.
Nice.
So since then, no golfers at Coffee, no golfers at Athens, no golfers at schools where we predominantly attend. So that's what 18 holes of wisdom is. To make sure that one, we can teach the kids golf at elementary, middle school level. So if they're taught golf, then they can play golf. Because it's a difference in being taught, but now how do I play the game? Who's gonna spend time with me? Who's gonna show me how to tip, how to putt, which iron to play? Who's gonna talk to me on the course to help me work through whatever situation I might be going through? That's the 18 holes of wisdom game because I need golfers, people who love the game, who is willing to invest into a child that says, I like to learn about this game.
And that's such a strong why. Um. Because it's needed. Like I'm oblivious to the fact that it was this bad, but it's kind of shameful and distasteful. But at the same time, I don't even know why I'm surprised. But I'm glad that you're stepping in, and 18 holes of wisdom is so pivotal for our people to see this, because like I didn't know it was this bad. Like there's no golfers out here. And you said something key: exposure. I say this to say this. This is the truth, y'all. I was in Texas. I travel back and forth to Texas all the time. Sidebar. But I was in Texas like 3 weeks ago. And I went to the track just to work out a little bit. And I didn't know it was a lacrosse day, right? I mean, the field, they had like six lacrosse tournaments going on. Not one black person out there. Right. Going back to golf, it's like going back to what you're saying too, is like, well, we don't see a representation of us out there enough in a lot of some of these other sports, and we need the exposure. And 18 holes of wisdom is going to give you the chance to learn. And June 30th, we're going to talk about that later on. It's so pivotal for you guys to show up, to sponsor and be active, because we need to start this at the middle school level so these kids can get the exposure. So who benefits mainly from starting, um besides the kids? What do they benefit from starting so early in middle school?
Well, if they start early enough in middle school, then the shame of not being good does not happen when you get to high school because you can't compete. So in middle school, you play 9 holes. You play 9 holes all the way to middle school, and that's it. So if you want to get to 18 holes, you got to play competitive golf. So if all you play in middle school is just middle school golf, then you will never be ready for high school golf. Because in high school golf, you play 9 holes too, But if you're playing in high school, you play competitive 9 holes. In middle school, they don't really play competitive. They just got to play. You get the competitive part when you play in those Saturdays. And that's what happens when you have a program. Then you get a chance to actually work with the kids in season, out of season. They get confident. The parents get an understanding of how do I help, how do I support my kid get to this weekend golf. And so now when they're playing weekend golf and they're playing 18 holes, then they get a chance to be to have the confidence. They get the skills they need. They get the level of practice that they need. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's only 5 golfers on a team. And so you're gonna go through about 15 to 20 to get to the five.
Wow.
And so 5 golfers get to compete. And so that means that you gotta have everything that you need from equipment to course entry fees to travel to changing bags, changing clothes, changing shoes, all the balls. It's a heavy cost. And what we don't want parents to run into is that financial wall to where I'm not going to let my kid play because of finances. So we as a community are supporting QEA, Carter G. Woods, Middle Springs Elementary, Northwest Elementary. There's some other ones out there that I know that they will eventually become a part of this. But if the community is saying, hey, we're going to make sure that this school, we're not going to rely on the school system solely to make sure that our kids get exposed to more.
Touche. Touche. So it definitely helps with the learning curve, and that's important. You know, the encouragement and the learning how to, and then when they get to a certain level, i.e., high school, they'll feel more confident. But I didn't know it's five. That's to get. You got to have 5 strong people. That's wow. That's rigorous. Let me get to some of these comments as well, and then we're gonna get into this tournament to help with the finances of developing these young black men and women, because this is
That's
we
right.
talking about men, but it's a lot of young girls
And
that
I'm gonna
are
tell you something, we need a lot of girls because if it's 112 athletes in a tournament on the weekend, it's probably from the ages of 5 to 18, maybe 30 girls.
wow.
So that means the majority of our guys. So if it's 30 girls, and I may have seen over the last 5 years, 5 black and brown girls.
I don't think I'm flabbergasted, y'all. I don't think y'all understand how alarming these numbers are. Um, wow. But like I told y'all, like I said, I was in Texas, and Texas, of course, y'all know is a predominantly football. It's football out there. But like I said, lacrosse is picking up, and I was talking to a lady, and she was saying that they don't have any NIL out here. They don't recognize. They just starting to recognize scholarships. So let's think about this into the golf aspect. If we can imagine 10 years from now, we're starting to the foundation. Imagine NIL coming to golf. Imagine these kids getting the more exposure early, just based off what you're doing. So
Well,
that's
let me
that's
tell you something. Jewel, she has already got kids sponsored with titles.
wow.
So my goal in Winston-Salem, Jewel said, Napoleon, you find me 6 competitive junior golfers in Winston-Salem, we will start ambassador in Winston-Salem. On June the 8th, there's a tournament. It's called the Love Summer Tournament. Come out there, you gonna see 30 to 40
Okay.
black and brown kids going up.
Okay, I might have to put it up in a second too. I want people to witness that. Let me get to a couple of these comments. Shout out to Mrs. Who's Jessup,
My boy.
J1 Jessup. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
What's up,
Um,
Jessica?
Shout out to, of course, Crow. You know, that's my guy right there. That's he connected everything. You
Neighbor
know,
boy.
like I said, it's that's my guy right there, man. Great guy. Um, Trust me, I lean on him for wisdom a lot of times. All right, shout out to Stephanie, 18 Holes of Wisdom, June 30th.
As
The missus, right? Is that the missus?
yes, that's what I
Yeah.
was.
Shout out to Mrs. Thank you for the shameless plug. June 30th, Winston Lake Golf Course. Juwan Jessup again. The earlier the kids get exposure, the better. Shout out to First Tee Program. We may should look into exposure clinics. That's a good idea.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that. Shout out to Miss Coffee again. Exposure is key. Touche, touche. Last but not least, Mo Crow Golf.
Yeah,
Any youth that want to improve their game, contact me.
that's right. Coach Mo, he's one of the fires coaches.
Nice. We appreciate everyone that commented, man. We appreciate the interaction, man. So thank you guys, man. We were creating awareness, and I'm glad that we're doing this interview. We are going to do a part two because this is a lot of information, and I have so many other questions to get to. But I know that it's time is not on our side, unfortunately. But part two, we're going to dive deep into more things as well. So thank you guys for your time. Um, Back to business. Talk about how can people sponsor this event on June the 30th.
There's several sponsorship levels. Obviously, our top sponsor, uh, they do $10,000. Then the next one is $5,000, and I'm thankful for our first three sponsors. We got Mechanics and Farmers. Huge shout out to them. Mechanics and Farmers is the bank that first believed in my daddy's dream of starting Burning Flame Christian Church and Living Center, and they believe in they holds principle. And I want a huge shout out to Winston-Salem Police Department, Chief Penn. Chief Penn, as soon as he heard about something non-traditional coming to our community, he's like, count me in. So huge shout out to them. I did get a confirmation from Miss Gilmore over there. She said that she's definitely going to support what we're doing and be a sponsor. So huge shout out to those three for go ahead and stepping up and helping to support us. But there's several sponsorship levels. You can sponsor a school sponsor. You can be a lunch sponsor. You can be a breakfast sponsor. You can you can also what I call chip for putt. That's my daddy. That's Napoleon, the Bishop Napoleon Crowell chip to putt contest. And anybody who plays with my daddy, no, you can't stand behind my daddy while he's chipping or putting. And so that contest is for him. And so we're going to do a scholarship in his honor. We're going to do a scholarship in his honor. And then we got, you can just sponsor a team. So, you're the junior, you can sponsor the team and compete in the tournament as well.
So people, you ain't got no excuse. I feel like a lot of times in our community, we gripe and complain about certain things, but now we're having the opportunity to fix a problem that we have a huge problem as far as exposure in our community. So I want everybody. I'm trying my best to spread the word. I'm about to pull up the actual link itself shortly before we get off the call. This interview. I'm sorry. So we can go over, right quick, skim over it right quick. But like I said, guys, June the 30th, Winston Lake. You have the opportunity. You actually have the opportunity to sponsor. Shout out to the current sponsors as well. That's so huge. Thank you for the funeral home. Shout out to Officer Penn as well. So you still have the opportunity now. You're just more than over a month away to actually sponsor. So it's no excuse, right? Um, Also, talk about volunteering. How can you? Let's just say you can't
Absolutely.
sponsor, but you want to volunteer. So talk about the volunteering aspect
Absolutely.
of
We're going to need a lot of help. So whether you are helping to escort people from the parking lot up to the actual course, or whether it's taking refreshments out, changing coolers, serving lunches, helping move things around the golf course, the moving banners, helping to give out awards. We're going to need lots of help, lots of energy. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Man, that's what I like to hear. So let me go to the actual link itself and we can go over it right quick as well. And then if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask right now because we know it's getting late, but we definitely still have to get to this. I want to show you guys. I would be remiss not to show you the link. So let me get to the link right quick and then we will show them that and maybe ask a few more questions to get you up out of here. But we
Are
are
we
doing the
going to
part
get
two.
some sound on the video?
We could try. Like I said, I feel so bad. Like I'm like, because I can hear it on my end. You don't understand, guys. I can hear it clear as day on my end. I turned the volume up. We could try it again. Maybe who knows? I feel bad about it. Like it's one of those things. Like I'm competitive, so it's one of those like, it's like seeing a chalkboard and somebody scratching and on it, and I can't get to it. It's so annoying, and that I can't fix it. Right. But nevertheless, we can release it tomorrow. So if you guys
Okay.
don't sit tonight, but let me try to get to this link first.
Okay.
About 18 holes, and then we'll I can hear. Okay, yeah, I'm saying, Jawan, you can hear Jessup, you can hear this, but when we get to the video, we were having trouble. But we'll try it again for kicks and giggles after we go over the 18 holes,
Okay.
right quick. So let me try at least to show the 18 holes. You go over that briefly, and then we can go back to try to show the video because I really want the people to see because everybody's like they like the visual, they just can't hear the audio. So irritating. Okay, so let me go back to 18 holes as far as not 18 holes, but the website right quick. Uh, let's go to this share screen. Da-da-da. Let's get out of this. We'll come back. Let's go to email. All right. So this has no audio, so I know we ain't got no problems. You can see it, right? Can y'all see this?
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful website, by the way, y'all. I wish we had time to go over Envision the Start. I like that. But I'm just on the website, you guys, just giving you a little brief. The tournament, June 30th, is updated. 18 holes of wisdom. Scrolling down here. I want to get to the times. Well, let me get to the registration. So you want to go over the registration and the agenda?
Well, registration is easy. You just choose which package you want, whether you want to just sign up as a team or whether you want to be a sponsor. You choose the one that you want. You can actually um, earmark a school. So if you want to be a school sponsor, and you can choose a specific school, or you just leave it as spread amongst all of them. Or you could be an Eagle level sponsor with all of them. There's certain things that you get with it, whether it's uh, one of the 18 holes in hats or whether it's one of the 18 holes in some shirts. So everything is customized in color and for each team. So whatever color you choose is what you and your playing partner would have.
Nice. And you talked about the the putting contest for your dad and honor your
Yeah.
dad. That is super dope. And DNC is putting our money where our mouth is. We're gonna sponsor as well. So I'm excited about that. I talked to the team about it. So I'm not actually talking about it. I'm being about it. I'm excited. I want to see some of these young golfers. The agenda. Are we sticking to the agenda? The times,
Yes, the gender is like it's posted.
Okay. Set up. We got set up. Registration. Let's be on time, people. Light little breakfast.
We ain't doing no sleeping.
Okay, there you go. Let's be on. Let's be on time. We have tournament starts promptly 8:30. We're talking about the introductions, rules of play. Let's get into
So let me talk a little bit about the play. So
okay.
it's an 18-hole alternating stroke play. So it'll be a junior, and an adult. Y'all alternate hitting. You'll have one combined score. So that so one team scores against the other team's score. So that's how you win. And so with this is going to not only be local competition, but we will have national competition. That will be 18 holes wisdom in Charlotte, Winston, Greensboro, Virginia, where we will bring those 18 holes of wisdom together, competitors together, and get some benefits. Those title schools in those districts.
Nice. Man, God gave you the vision, man. We just out here trying to execute, man. That's and iron sharpens iron, y'all. So I like the fact it's gonna be in different places and it allows other people to compete. So iron sharpens iron. I love that. Shotgun start 9 o'clock.
Yep,
Um, grab box lunch, grab and go. Get you some substance back in you. We back out there again at what 2?
yep. And we will have
Okay.
our trophies and awards.
That's what I'm saying. We need volunteers, man. So you guys can really be a part of this and help it grow. 2:30 awards. Definitely, I'm out here giving out awards. So we, handing out these medals, these prizes. I'm super excited. We're super excited. So each one, not each one, but people get. You got a raffle going on as well.
Hmm.
And let's finish up with we all here for the Lord. Finish up with tournament fellowship at a local restaurant.
That's right.
I can't. I'm looking forward to the prayer. You did something key when we were out there shooting the promo video. You prayed on it. We got to put God first, y'all. God gave Napoleon a vision. We out here just trying to execute. We out here his sheep. We out here trying to get exposure for the youth and these kids. I wish they could see the video because you said something key in the video. You said about getting kids out the street. Getting them positivity. But the link is right here. Contact organizer. You can invite a friend, you can share all this information on the bottom here for you guys. So I'm going to stop sharing. Did we cover everything as far as on this? Did I miss
Yes.
anything? Okay. All right. Let me stop sharing and let's see. Let's get to any questions before we forget. And then we're gonna try the video for the last time to take us home. Let's hope it works. So we got some more questions here. Um Juwan, you on fire tonight. So you will have to make sure your setting allow you to do it to share audio. That might be what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go to my settings right quick. Uh, audio, reduce background noise. Got that. Stereo. Got that. I'm in my settings. My mic is good. General. Okay. Everything look good in the settings, y'all. I don't know why they wouldn't allow. I'm in audio. Um, Yeah, everything looked good. Reduce. Okay. Echo cancellation. I. Let's just try it again. Uh, we'll try. I'm in audio. Everything looked good on my end audio, so I don't know. Under share. Okay. Under share. Let me go into share right quick then. Uh, uh, okay. I'm not seeing anything yet. I don't even see oh, you're right there. I see it. I see it. I see it. Okay. Share. Okay. No, that ain't it. No. Okay. I think it's beats me. Share your professor referral link. But let's try it one more time. If not, like I said, we're gonna release the video tomorrow. We're gonna try it. Let's test it out one more time for kicks and giggles. And get you guys out of here nevertheless. So I'm about to share it. I'm gonna try it again for the last time. Share screen. I'm gonna share screen. Window. Okay. Still nothing? Can't hear nothing? Well,
No.
Nothing still?
Nothing.
It just won't let me be great. Let me go to settings. Yeah, it's nothing. No, I don't know. It's something, but I guarantee it's user error though, because it's me. But it's like it's. I hate it, man. Let me double check something right quick. One more thing. I hate that. Still nothing, right?
Nothing.
I ain't going to. I hate it too, y'all. Like I said, it's such a great video too. It is such a great video. You see the shirts, the apparel as well. So definitely, I'm looking forward to wearing the apparel. All right, so we're just gonna release it tomorrow, y'all. I hate that. Let me get out of here. It's discouraging, but nevertheless, we're gonna persevere.
All right. That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna drop it tomorrow. So y'all check out, stay tuned, and we'll have it uploaded and ready to drop tomorrow. And if you guys advanced sharing options, there's a speaker on the icon. Yeah, that's what it probably was. Yeah, it's me, y'all. So like I said, I apologize.
So we're gonna do it.
All right, we're gonna get it squared away. But like I said, just any other questions, you guys put them in the chat now. Thank you, Crowell, for your time. We had a phenomenal conversation learning about you. Y'all bringing your father, your family, your granddaughters. Ancient holds wisdom. Y'all got so much knowledge out here. Y'all got the gems. Y'all got fatherhood advice. You got educated on the exposure of golf. Is there anything, Napoleon, that you feel like you want to leave us with?
It's time for us to work together. This is not a one day.
I don't know where he went, but nevertheless, shout out to Bobby Gwynn for tapping in. You guys stay tuned tomorrow for the video that's going to be released. Shout out to DNC, the DNC team, DNC family. Crowell has hired us and allowed us to work with him and network with him to build this event on the 18th. Okay. I can, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about that. So June the 30th, June the 30th, it's going down. We're super excited about it. You saw the itinerary. You saw the itinerary. It's a fun-filled event a day. I'm excited about learning. I'm excited about learning and exposing my child.
Look at that boy getting his technology game up, learning how to get back in there.
Back to your comments. You said some net. You said some good things about us working together. Go ahead, finish your thought.
This is an opportunity for us as a community to take ownership of a problem. Last night I was watching Playing from the Rough. How at Tennessee State University they could not find enough American-born African-American kids to play golf. They had to go to other countries to put together a golf.
That's sad in my heart too. To even hear that. But I would say this: he'll be back. But once we get to anything, and this people of melanin, it's takeover season. I mean, so 10 years from now, we're gonna be having a different conversation. Um, so I'm excited to hear that. I do have a question about hopefully hopefully he answered this question about Bagger Vance for me.
There you go.
Second time charm, don't worry. Third time charm.
So yeah, I was watching this movie and how this team was formed because there was not enough American-born players for Tennessee State to start a team. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. But we got to lock arms and fix the problem. Fixing the problem is starting early and spread this not only in Winston-Salem but across the states, and bring 18 holes of wisdom together to bring together communities to support our schools. And I taught this. I teach this to kids at a school called Turning Point. This is an alternative school in Charlotte. And these kids are asking me, Mr. Crowell, when are you going to teach? When are you going to take us out to play some more golf? So if these kids who really don't have a chance at playing this game, they just exposed to it, we could do it for kids 6th, 7th grade. And so I'm just looking forward to us locking arms and doing this thing, especially in my hometown, Winston-Salem, Trey Folk.
Hey, that's what I like. That we gonna end it on that, man, because that's a beautiful thing. You said something to keep come together, man. So I'm excited for everyone. Like you said, we got to come together. You know, we're stronger when we come together, you guys. So appreciate you. I do have one last question because it's like when you don't know what you know until you kind of like start thinking about it. You ever watch that movie with Will Smith? It was called Bagger Vance.
Yes.
I love that movie. Sidebar. It was a hella great movie.
Right.
I don't know if you guys have watched that golf movie, but it was a good golf movie called Bagger Vance, and Will Smith was in it, guys. So check it out when you guys get a chance. So thank you for 18 Holes of Wisdom. Thank you. Shout out to Stephanie. Shout out to your support system. Shout out to you.
DNC. Shout out to DNC. You guys have been great, and I look forward to just continuing to work together and grow together.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, guys, we had a good time tonight. We came, we saw, we conquered. Vini Vini Vici. So you guys take care. We'll see you guys next time.
I know my kids can't believe that their daddy is doing something live, but I'm here.
Shout out to Daddy on that one, y'all. Y'all gotta give your daddy some props. Y'all take care, man. Y'all stay blessed. And we'll be back for part 2. We'll announce the part 2 date. We'll figure out the logistics of that, but we're honored and we're humbled and we're gonna make it happen.
Thank you.
All right, y'all take care. All right. Peace.
Peace.